morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, and welcome to the Context Denied podcast. The podcast with only 3 rules. 1, no guest is on 2 weeks in a row. 2, the guest has no idea what's going on. And 3, there's no pressure to stay the entire time. We are changing our format a little bit, so this episode will be a little shorter. Let me know in the comments if that's something you like. I'm Hadley, and today my guest is...
Anders.
What's a fun fact about you?
I can name a football player, soccer player, or a soccer team, or football team, from almost every major country that plays football in the world.
I didn't actually know that. I'm not surprised, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a true statement.
In case you haven't noticed, Henry's right here. He's just going to be chilling right here because there's no room behind us, and you guys haven't gotten me to 200 likes yet, so he doesn't have a chair, so... So yes, new format, 200 likes still applies, you can still get Dolpho a chair, but the format will just kind of be evolving over the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to figure out something that I really want to stick on for right now. Our first modification is just that it's only 30 minutes long. I forgot to start a timer. Do that real quick. It's gonna be 30 minutes.
You can just look at the time.
Yeah, I'm sure I could. But I'm gonna forget. Anyways, topic. Okay. So
what are we talking about today?
So like when I was thinking about it, I was like, I could talk to you about football, soccer. I don't know which one I was doing air quotes for. I could talk to you about the sport of the ball.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, but I wouldn't be able to, like, do that much in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, my next idea was, like, traveling. But I already talked to Hallie about that.
Uh-huh.
So I think what it's gonna be is I want to talk to you about cultures and, like, because, like, with Hallie, I kind of talked about more, like, her experiences with traveling.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like you know a lot more about, like, different kinds of, like, cultures and stuff like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
So I figured we could talk about that.
All right, let's do it.
So my first, my starting point is, what's the most interesting part of a culture to you?
What's the most interesting part of a culture?
Mm-hmm.
Just any culture that you learn about?
Yeah.
I think actually. So if you want to understand a culture,
Mm-hmm.
if you really want to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it, you want to kind of understand like where the food comes from, where certain political systems come from, or you want to even just learn kind of why some things are the way they are.
Yeah.
I think the best place to start is actually history.
That's fair.
Like to understand the kind of cultural history, like some areas might have some parts of the world have a huge colonial history, such as the Americas or Africa or even the Middle East. And the colonial history shapes kind of a lot of what you kind of see shapes that culture today.
Yeah.
And some places, like for example, you go to Europe, you've got lots of places that were occupied by kingdoms and empires, and so you see them split you see these countries split in different ways that were according to those kingdoms and empires previously.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps set up the different interactions between the countries as well, historically as well. And so I would probably say I think if someone's ever interested in learning about culture, you start with the history, and then you start diving into the food, and you start diving into the people and everything else, because it gives you that kind of frame of reference to look at it. Because if you don't understand the history of a culture, you're gonna be a lot less understanding of what you're kind of interacting with.
Yeah, that's fair. We were talking about this in a class once that you can still obviously the Berlin Wall isn't there anymore.
Right.
You can still kind of see the differences between the sides apparently. I don't know if that's true. You were the one who's been to Germany, but
yeah. Unfortunately, I've only been to southern Germany, so
yeah.
I can't speak to that. But in a lot of this stuff, whether it's media I've consumed, German media that I've consumed, or whatever, that definitely is true. There's definitely like in the city of Berlin itself, there's a clear difference between West and East Berlin.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Which also, by the way, for viewers and listeners' information, he is fluent in German officially, right? You took the fluency test? I feel like I heard that.
I mean, if you want to be super technical about it, it's a very complicated way that we measure how proficient people are in fluency. But I have an advanced professional working proficiency.
So you're fluent.
To the layman's terms, yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna be silly for a second.
Okay.
For content, because content. Say something in German, and I want people to try and guess what it is. I want people to try.
Oh, you want people to guess what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want it to be on like a certain context, like within a certain context?
This is context denied, Anders.
Point taken.
I just want to see what happens. You can tell me what it means afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. So, we'll do this. This is a line from a song.
Okay.
From one of the greatest bands in Germany that I recommend that anyone looks up. They're called Anne Mai Kantreit.
Everyone knows how to spell that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like, look up Tom's Diner.
Yeah.
From Anne
I
Mai
figured it was
Kantreit.
Tom's Diner.
That's the most popular thing for an English.
Yeah.
But they just listen to anything that they listen to.
Yeah.
Music's good.
Because Tom's Diner was really popular on TikTok for a while too.
Yeah.
So probably a lot of people.
Because he has
have
such an
heard of that.
amazing voice.
Uh-huh.
Henning Mai has such an amazing voice.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so there's a line of a song that I was listening to last night, and it goes, Mein Vater denkt immer an früher, wenn Orangen schält.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, that was just a random thing. I thought I was like, this would be funny.
That, I mean, and if anybody's an aspiring German speaker or a German speaker, that's a pretty, like, medium level sentence, too. So.
Which brings me to, like, sorry, I was, like, talking about culture, but then I, like, got another idea, so. Which is okay. It's jumping around.
We're just having a conversation.
We're just having a conversation.
Conversation develops as it does.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it. I was like, you're a fan of music, right? You had more listening hours than me on Spotify last year, and I was slightly jealous.
It's because I just always have music on.
I know.
Or like I'm listening to a podcast or something.
For reference, I had a lot of listening hours on Spotify. I had like 35,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or minutes. Was it minutes?
I think they do minutes.
Yeah, minutes, not hours. That would be insane.
I don't remember.
But
yeah.
I could find our
I
text.
had the upper 30,000s as well, though.
Yeah. I think you had like 37,000 or something.
That sounds right. But then I also
I had 25,000. That's what I had.
You had 25,000?
Mm-hmm.
I think I had like 32,000.
Yeah.
But then I also had like 20-something thousand minutes of podcasts that I listened to as well.
And I don't listen to that many podcasts despite being on one. I listen to like 2 because I just have... Because the reason I made this podcast was because I wanted it to be something where it's like, you can start wherever you want, because my biggest problem with podcasts is I never start when the podcast starts, and so I don't want to go back and listen to all the first podcasts. But anyways, music. Like, how is German music different from English music? I'm just curious. Is it not? Or is it?
No, there's not a lot of differences.
Okay.
You've got your pop music, you've got your rap music, and there's no country music really.
That's good. We should all just move to German.
We should move to Germany.
We should all just move to German.
Please don't.
I'm sorry. My brain that was what my brain said. It's fine.
You're good. Like there's no German country music, but you kind of have a little bit of everything. One thing what I can tell you is that German music videos are all pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
They are all like the same, like it's mostly just the artist performing the song.
Okay. Yeah.
Intermixed with like the same 5 basic types of images.
Okay.
Like they're all very similar. And then on top of that, though, I will say that one of my favorite kind of I guess, archetypes of German music
Mhm.
that I don't think you find as often in English music. Like, it could just be the music I'm listening to, but
Yeah.
what is really common in the German music that I've listened to is the song that sings about getting away. Like getting out of town, getting away from here.
Okay.
And most of the time it's about going to the sea.
Oh, interesting.
Like whether that's like the North Sea in Germany or maybe going down to the Mediterranean. But like they're like on my contract, the artist that I was talking about before, they've got the song Drei Tage am Meer, which is 3 days at the sea.
Mhm.
There's a song by another band that I really like called Provinz.
Mhm.
Really, they've got really good stuff, and one of my favorite songs by them is called Sarah or Sarah, and that song's like pretty much kind of talking about how like this girl named Sarah just really wanted to get out of town, and it was kind of about like his conflict about helping her get out of town,
Oh,
like
that's
going on
cool.
vacation, but like he wasn't really able to, but she went out there anyways, and so on.
So, by the way, I'm doing a little experiment with you because, not with you as a person, just like with this podcast.
I
Because
just did notice my nose was getting a little longer.
because like the computer screen will turn off, and I think that's what's causing that caused one podcast to be buggy, but it also might have been the software we were using to film. And I haven't tested it yet because I've been so nervous because I didn't want an hour-long podcast that was super buggy the whole time. But now that I've moved to half an hour, I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
Because it won't have as much time. So, just so you're aware, if it's buggy, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I remember what I was gonna say. I had a topic and then I was like, what? There's this dude on Instagram who I always scroll past in my reels, who's like a metalhead,
Okay.
but he always like makes fun of country music, and it is my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, really?
Like, as much as I don't know metal music at all, like, I will watch his content because it's like dissing on country music, and it's so funny. Not that country music is that bad, it's just like the way he does it is just so like,
it's probably like a mix of on point, but
Yeah.
also like ironic.
yeah, because I was like, what? This is the one I like telling to everyone because I think it's so funny. He was like, hey, I think I'm starting to get into country music, and like the person he was talking to was like, hey, yeah, me too. Like, this is great. Like, I kind of really like this. And then he like wakes up and he's like, that was an awful dream. It's just funny, but
One had to be there.
yeah.
One had to see the video.
Yeah, but it's gold. It's like country music. Like I'm more aware of like the style of country music now than I used to be because in my science class she has like a different kind of music she plays every day just through Pandora, and Tuesdays is country. So I've heard the most country music.
Have you heard the song Tuesday?
No, I
By
didn't
Jake
know.
Scott.
No, I didn't know.
There's a because my wife really likes country music.
Yeah.
There's a song called Tuesdays by Jake Scott. So I was just.
Yeah, I have no idea because I don't pay that much attention. But I've listened to more country music this year than I ever have in my entire life. And like listening to it, I'm like, there is like good elements. I think there's good elements of country. I just think it's not my style. But like I can understand why they're like, because I used to be like very anti-country. I used to be like, this is the worst crap I've ever listened to in my life. But like listening to it this year, I'm just kind of like, there are good elements of it, and I can respect these elements. I wouldn't listen to it on a regular basis, but I can respect this kind of thing, you know? And I think.
And well, okay, so it's funny that you say this, right? Because watch this, we're gonna bring this full circle.
Okay.
Because that's how you should learn about cultures too.
That's great.
Because here's the thing, right? Is at any point in time, at some point in our lives, unless we live in a very rural town that doesn't really have lots of interaction with outside world or with multicultural areas, you're gonna have an interaction with someone that's from a different culture than you.
Oh, of course.
Right? And when you interact with that other culture, you might find things that are different.
Yeah.
And you might be like, oh, that's super cool. You might say, oh, that's really weird.
Yeah.
But anyone who exists on this earth needs to learn the concept of um, embracing multiculturalism, in my opinion. This is the world according to Anders, of course.
Yes.
But like, and the best way to do that is you need to engage with a culture like you did with country music, and be like, there are really good things from this culture that like, generally music isn't this way, but like in a cultural way, you might say, oh, they have this custom where they like will always invite you, offer you something to drink.
Yeah.
Or always offer you something to eat, and you might say, well, that's like a really good thing. That's something I want to learn from. I want to take so I can become a better person.
Yeah.
And so, like, kind of bring it full circle. Like, that's, in my opinion, the way you kind of interact with country music. Might say, I'm not gonna fully immerse myself in this culture, but I really like some of the things that they do to build that sense of community.
Yeah, you can appreciate the different aspects and factors that go into it.
100%. And that's something, and I think that's something that we don't do enough of.
Yeah, totally.
Because if we did more of that, we wouldn't see as much conflict in the world, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not that it wouldn't be there, but I think there'd be less of it.
Yeah. Hydration check. Oh, that was so... It was not exciting. I'm doing so bad at hydration checks lately.
Why? Like, it's just drinking water.
You know, like, it doesn't make it interesting enough.
You don't make it interesting.
The scrollability is really high.
Okay.
I don't know what scrollability is. Actually, I do know what scrollability is, but I'm pretty sure it's not a word.
I mean, it's a new word.
This water is not refreshing. I don't know why. Water's... You know when, like, water's, like, really... It's the same water.
Did you get yours from the fridge upstairs?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think this water's great. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just... I don't know. My mouth's really dry today. It's probably because I didn't use my mouthwash.
I think that's TMI.
Probably. I was gonna say something and now I don't remember.
We're going full circle with cultures.
Yeah.
I was going on a make peace.
Yeah.
Sort of tangent.
What? Like, it's so interesting to see, like, I don't know. Oh, I was thinking about, like, it's like, it'd be really cool to have, like, a song that, like, takes, like, one aspect for...
Here, we can reset the conversation. Hydration check.
Hydration check. Hopefully I can find it this time.
So you want a song with every sort of genre of music in it?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Like, you take, like, you could have, like, a banjo and, like, an electric guitar.
Uh-huh.
And then you have, like, the weird, like, electro things.
Uh-huh.
And then you have, like, the... I don't know what other kinds of music. You could have, like, a little screamo part if you wanted.
This sounds like a really interesting song.
You have, like, violins, like...
I know a song that's not exactly like that, but I know a song that, like, has lots of languages.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And it's like a collaboration done across, like a couple dozen artists across Europe.
That's cool. There's this dude on YouTube and Instagram and, like, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a content creator. He raps. He does raps. And he raps presents.
Mm-hmm.
That was a joke. I'm funny. He does rap songs.
I'll slap my knee for that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
But he does this thing, and he, like, a couple other artists do this now, but I think he was the first. He was the first that I saw, and everyone else I've seen do it has said they were inspired by him. I'm not completely 100% sure he was the first person to ever do this. He takes a globe, like a world globe, and he spins it, and then he stops it and puts his finger somewhere, and then he'll find an artist from that country and do a song with them.
I think I've seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen this.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like, he makes good music. Like,
Uh-huh.
I've only heard a couple of his songs, but, like, the songs I've heard are good.
Uh-huh.
And, like, it's just interesting to see, like, how that person contributes and stuff. And I'm like, that's cool. I think it's a cool concept to, like...
Yeah, and I think, and the great thing about that is that, like, music really isn't that different across the world as we might think it is. Like, I once, for school, had to watch this documentary, and it was about the music scene in Istanbul, Turkey.
Cool.
And there is Istanbul is a huge metropolitan area that connects both the Western and Eastern worlds, basically.
Yeah.
Right? And you find a lot of that influence in their music. So you've got like pop, you've got rap, you've got metal, but then you've got like Kurdish music, or you've got other Turkish music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like there is always like a type of music that's unique to a culture. Like going back to German music, you have what's called Schlagerlieder, which is like drinking songs basically.
Oh, okay.
And they're fun, I guess. But
I was gonna try to pronounce that word and then I went no.
Schlagerlieder.
Schlagerlieder.
Okay, Schlag.
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 Li.
Der.
I'm gonna give you a heavy American accent. Der. Yeah. Schlager. Leader. Schlagerlieder. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay.
I stopped trying at one point because I just
I
went
can tell.
Schlottenlieder.
Yeah.
That's my American eyes.
But anyways, like you could find any type of music really anywhere.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like you bring in there's different forms of African rap and pop, and there's a whole different African music scene as well. So
yeah. I just think it's a really cool thing.
Oh, it's really cool. That's like what I've been kind of getting into recently is a lot of kind of like I've been connected with a lot of different European artists and like kind of listening to what they kind of produce.
I only listened to one European artist.
Who's that?
Alan Walker.
Oh, okay.
Because he's from Norway, so he's technically European.
Yeah.
I listened to like.
It's like saying Ed Sheeran's a European artist. Though.
Yeah,
it's like yes, he is from that continent.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, but like, I'm talking about like artists that are very specific to that area, like Kaleo or Giant Rooks or bands like that.
Yeah. I know, it was so funny. I saw this. I keep referencing videos, but there's this video where, like, someone, you know who BTS is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, someone, like, mentioned, they were like, yeah, I don't know BTS very well. And he's Scottish. He's not, like, Scottish, but he's, like, Scottish heritage. And he was like, don't get mad at me for not knowing K-pop. I doubt you know any Scottish artists. Do you know who this person is? Do you know who this person is? It was funny. I was like, that's
Twin
fair.
Atlantic and the Snuts. Those are two Scottish artists.
I don't think those were either ones you mentioned. I don't remember.
Those are two Scottish. Twin Atlantic is actually really fun to listen to.
Really?
Because they're like a Scottish rock band, and it's funny because their Scottish accent, like in most music, like for example, if you're listening to, honestly anyone, you don't necessarily hear much of an accent.
Yeah.
When they sing in English, even like from the UK and stuff.
Yeah.
But this band, they have an accent, and it is heavy, and it is just so fun to listen to.
That's
like whenever like I just like have it on in the background, my wife gets really annoyed because she's like what is this? I'm like, no, it's hilarious. This is music comedy gold right here. But they're a good band. They make good music. So respect and shout out to Twin Atlantic because.
Twin Atlantic. Do they have an Instagram? Should I tag them?
Sure. Yeah.
No, that's what I do on Instagram. I like tag people because I'm like, maybe they'll see it.
You? Yeah. Yeah, no, they have a song called Crash Land.
Oh, cool.
That's like, it's like really distinct. Like instead of like, when they say the word you, they're like, you. Like.
That's great. It's so funny. This other thing I saw, I'm on the internet way too much, guys. There was like this, it wasn't actually the same video with the thing I was talking about before, but with this Scottish thing. But it was like someone doing an impression of Freddie Mercury.
Okay.
And they went like, they did, a bad name, like that thing.
But that's not Freddie Mercury.
Who was it?
That's Bon Jovi.
Sorry, Bon Jovi. My brain died.
So you just mixed up the artist.
I just mixed up the artist.
I that would have been really funny if they made the content and it took this really famous Bon Jovi song and I credited it to Freddie Mercury.
No, that was me. I just went, my brain went, I couldn't remember what song it was what happened.
Okay.
And so I just went, I think it was Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, no,
song.
that's not a Queen
and then
song.
I thought of the song and then It was Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
He was like, a bad name, because like that's what he does in the song, and the dude reacting to the impression was like, I always forget he does that. I always hear that, I'm like, oh, that's wrong. And then I listen to the original thing and I'm like, no, wait, that's what he actually does. He does a bad name. Which, that song is great and it's a classic. I'm not trying to make fun of the song. It's just kind of a funny way of doing it. So, do you want to wrap up?
I'm here just going with the flow.
Okay. I feel like we've kind of like reached the end of our conversation. We've gone around the circle like 6 times.
There's lots of... Well, it depends, because if you want to talk more about culture, there's honestly... You could never stop talking about.
That's true.
About, like, cultural differences. And
Yeah.
because one thing I should say that I didn't mention beforehand, that I probably should say, is a lot of music around the world is the same. But the asterisk to that is every type of music kind of has its own cultural flair to it.
Yeah.
So, like, because you brought up K-pop, for example.
Yeah.
Like, K-pop is pop, but it's got its own Korean culture to it.
Yeah, it's got like a little...
And so, like, when I say that, I want to make sure that that's clear. It's like, it's not like all pop is the same or like all rap is the same.
Yeah.
It has its own cultural influences on it.
Yeah.
But they each have those types of genres.
Yeah.
On it.
In basic, like,
Yeah.
in its most vanilla form. Vanilla? I'm thinking too Minecraft. Okay. In its most, like, what's the word? Basic form. That wasn't the word I was trying to think of. I'm not that dumb.
Original?
No, like, just like plain form.
I think the word for that is basic.
Okay. I don't know what word I was trying to think of then. If it's like, it has the, kind of like math, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, like, if you're doing trig, like, but like, it's still just like numbers, you know? I don't know if that made any sense. I just said a bunch of words and hoped they made sense together.
I think it's just like saying that it's really just saying that like anything that you make has the same basic ingredients.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like every like a lot of foods have the same basic ingredients of either like wheat and milk or like potatoes or whatever,
flour,
rice, like
like
a lot of foods have the kind of the same basic ingredients.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap up. Like, I think this is a good place to end.
Yeah, sounds great.
Our timer's almost up, so it's almost been half an hour. I'll just stop it now so it doesn't go off in the middle. Where is it? Stop it now so it doesn't go off in the middle. Thank you so much for watching. That had no energy. Let me try again. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening if you did. Thank you for skipping to the end if you did. That's all right. And at least you're here. That's what we appreciate. That's what we respect. If you enjoy this new format, please let me know in the comments. Thank you to Anders for showing up.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, discussing. We talked about some good things. I think it was a good quality conversation. I'm glad to be recording again. I haven't recorded in like 6 weeks. Just so you know, there's some big news coming up next week, hopefully.
Oh.
Hopefully.
Oh.
If I can get people to cooperate with me and I can figure everything out. But there should be some big news coming up next week, and I hope you'll subscribe if you want to, but don't feel pressured to. And thank you for being here. Have a day.
Hydration check.
Oh, the turntables.